Hello and welcome to the video. In this video, we're going to be looking at a cross between the fighter, the barbarian, and the druid. So in this case, I'm playing a fighter, and I've acquired the barbarian rage, as well as the barbarian immunity to knockback and magic resistance. And then I've also acquired the ability to turn into a bear from the druid. I can also turn it back into a human and also a panther if needs be, but really the main point of this is usually having the bear. That's really what this is all about more than anything. Although, you know, you have to be able to turn back to a human. The idea here is I wanted to just create the tankiest, most difficult to kill bear that there is. And as a fighter, it's really not that difficult. You don't even need to go like full ruby silver or anything like that. Just some decent plate items will get you right up to the AC that you need. And then you can even switch a few out like I've done in this build for some lighter armored gear that will still have you at that maximum damage resistance. In fact, I found even without using my bear raw, I was already sitting at that maximum 75% damage resistance with this build. Which is why I ended up bringing in the barbarian rage, because I found when I raged and then used my bear raw, I was at about 70% damage reduction. So the penalty of rage really wasn't anything serious, but the bonus damage for the bear and the speed and the health, oh, that was absolutely tremendous. I was sitting at about 280 health most of the time. Pretty damn hard to kill, I'll say, as far as they go. 280 health, what an absolute beast that I was. That being said, you might be wondering what could actually kill something like this. There certainly are absolutely great counters. That's one of the cool things that I do like about the multi-class period. That, you know, there's, for every build that you've got, there's essentially a pretty solid counter that you could also be running. But how good does that counter do overall? Well, that just kind of depends on what everyone else is running. So it's very much like a give and take, a tug of war sort of thing to find out what the best builds are when it comes to doing the multi-class sections here. I spent this whole time chasing after this rogue, and before I could even finish my quarry, some other ranger shows up and starts pelting me with arrows, God forbid. So I made sure to back off, get a little bit of healing, and then found a time to re-engage. Unfortunately, I was totally unable to find that other rogue in the end, so we just end up having to settle for this fellow just here. Now, there is also something that I want to draw to your attention as well at the end of this video. I said in my previous video, my multi-class warlock video, pay attention to a fellow on the leaderboard called Jack Mater, someone else who's running an interesting multi-class build at the moment, as he's actually going to show up in this video. I'm actually going to just go and show you towards the end of this video what it actually takes to take down one of these bear druids. What's one of the best builds to counter it? And of course, it's one of the total scumbag builds. It always is. No, and look, I kid. It's not like the most scumbag thing, but honestly, any build that takes massive advantage of stealth mechanics in this game and then tries to push them to the extremes, I feel like it's usually not a fun build to play against. So that's why I say landmine whatever, landmine build, not the most fun. I came into the goblin caves quite a few times to try and find some players, and I was having no luck. So in the end, I decided, let's take this build on against the Cyclops. Let's see how well we can just go as a bear if we're just tanking out his blows, and how much damage we can actually output with the rage as well. And you can see here, in just the first few moments, the ridiculous amount of damage. We just blast him down to about 50% health in, you know, not much time at all. The only trouble here is, once we get hit by that stomp, well, trying to get out of here is absolutely difficult, and healing ourselves back up takes so much time. We're super slow. It's a bit of a rough situation, I'll say, getting back into a spot where we're ready to actually re-engage with this boss. I think that just goes to show the absolute prowess of this build, though, for what it's worth, because not many builds could actually withstand a stomp from the Cyclops, for what it's worth. And not just one, but in fact 2 stomps. Not only can I survive it in bear form, but I can also survive it in just my regular armored form. That's just how tanky this build is. So, had I not had all this armor, I imagine this fight would have gone drastically different. Well, look, had I not had all the armor, I probably would have been able to run away from the stomps as well, to some extent. But I think it's a pretty good trade-off that you make, and, well, the only real difference here is compared to the druid has a whole lot of extra healing. They got a little bit of extra escape with the rat, you know, more mobility with the chicken. If you get that, I guess, as well, you could have that. But then all the healing and everything, they can heal up so much quicker, really. But I think the trade-off you really make here for the slower healing, you could say have second wind to get even more healing in bear form, you know, pop it, then move into bear. But even then, I think the rage is far better just because of the overall damage and the speed boost and health boost. Not to mention, Fighter actually has the potential to use crossbows, which, giving the bear build a ranged weapon is actually just a massive, massive boon. Forcing players to have to engage you in melee by shooting them down with a crossbow, it is just stupendous. It just gives you a lot of extra options for what it's worth. Now, I was so damn paranoid this game, guys. I tell you what, I spent so long listening by this door, like legitimately. I kept hearing the occasional footstep, and I kept waiting and thinking I'd hear someone, and then lo and behold, I wouldn't hear anyone, and I was kind of just waiting my time and biding my time. And then eventually I finally discerned that there must have been a footstep from here. I noticed that there was a dead goblin and decided to do a bit of investigation. So I saw the open door and I was like, maybe they're down here, but realistically I don't think that's true because I would have heard them walk down here if that was the case, and I hadn't heard any footsteps or anything like that. So I figured they must just be somewhere around here hiding, right? Like, let's just chill out here for a moment. There's probably some dude invisible. We're playing silly invisibility games, and all I can do is wait until they choose to reveal themselves. I started to doubt whether or not they even knew that I was here at this point as well, so I thought about taking my boots off and creeping ahead, but look, in typical fashion, that is the moment that the door actually got closed, and I knew someone was right there, but I thought they were actually on the other side of the door because I never actually saw the individual close the door, and then lo and behold, I guess they'd actually been hiding up in that little top section the whole goddamn time. And you can just see how much of my health was just shredded, absolutely minced. There's nothing of me, and there's no real hope for me. I swig a protection potion here, which is just enough to give me an extra hit, but really, it makes no difference. And like, here's another game. I had the same issue in this game. I was waiting for ages and I couldn't find anyone, and then lo and behold, what do you know? Jack Mater, once again, doing the same stuff. Legend has it to this day that Jack Mater is still here, just waiting.